Welcome to another episode of Historical Markers. Today we are in Franklin County, Tennessee, and today we're looking at several of the built-in signs in the city of Winchester. A bunch of the city buildings have this building was built in such and such, and so let's see what kind of built-in signs we can find. Built 1903. In 1905, Miller and Burkhalter Butcher Shop occupied the left end of this building, followed by grocery stores of S.E. Carter and Grant & Grant. M.A. Mall Ward operated a popular cafe here in the 1950s. Since then, this location has been used for various businesses and lawyers' offices. Built 1904. An undeveloped lot was here until T.A. Embry constructed this building, which first housed a grocery store in 1913. It became the location of Paplanis department store, established by Samuel Paplanis and his son, Isidore. After this popular dry goods store was sold to the Woodbine store chain in 1954, pop singer Brenda Lee came for the grand opening of the store, which operated until 1973. Apparently this is a music store of some kind now. Hard to tell. Built 1906. This building was labeled the Embry Block for its builder, T.A. Embry. The stamped metal facade adorning the upper story reflects the Victorian era of commercial architecture. The law office of Embry and Stewart was upstairs. In 1917, with Taylor's Hardware downstairs in the 1920s, popular 5 and 10 cent stores held this spot from 1938 to 1982. Looks like it is a couple different stores today. Built 1911. From 1845 to the 1860s, Ezra Crane operated a silver plating establishment on this site. A vacant lot was here when Collins Hardware Company constructed this building for a Ford dealership and seed company. In 1930, Roy Grant expanded his business next door to include this business. Jewelry stores and T.C. Simmons Insurance were here between 1949 and the 1970s. The city purchased the buildings for City Hall Annex in 1993. Built in 1912, the first house on the square built here by the Russey family about 1810 was followed by, in 1830, by the Ballard House, the first of several hotels and taverns. In 1857, a reception was held at the hotel for local attorney W.E. Venable, U.S. Minister to Guatemala. The present building, constructed by the Presbyterian Church, USA, was bought in 1945 for use by the City Hall and Franklin County Library and sold in 1954 to the Winchester Masonic Lodge, number 158. So here's the building today. Built 1914. Between the 1850s and 1911, a livery stable and stoneworks occupied the north end of this site, with the John Custer family home on the south corner. The present building was constructed for the U.S. Post Office and various government offices. After the city of Winchester purchased the buildings in 1967, a new city fire hall and police department was constructed at the rear in 1969. Winchester City Hall moved here in 1970. So you can see this is now the City Hall building. Built 1916. The Bell Tavern on this lot served as headquarters for the stage route in the 1820s. Boarding was $2.50 per week, lodging 12.5 cents per night, and horses lodged for 37.5 cents per night. Fred Winger Jr. and his brother George constructed this building for selling and servicing automobiles from 1958 to 1944. This was the location of Hall Furniture. Built in 1916, Casper J. Neese erected this middle building on the former site of a small blacksmith shop. Grover Hatfield and Ernest Baker leased it for their Ford service station garage until Hatfield used it for his machine shop in 1919. In the 1940s, during World War II, a bowling alley was here and was followed by Copeland and People's grocery stores. A bicycle parked out front was used by young boys employed to make deliveries around town. The Neese family opened a gift shop here in 1961 and operated it until 2000. Looks like today it is Salon 117. Built in 1919, this building was first leased by Winchester Motor Company, which sold Ford automobiles and Fordson tractors. In 1926, the Rollaway Skating Palace with its highly polished marble floor opened here. A variety of wholesale grocery companies used the building until it was rented for Vaughn Hardware building materials business. T.C. Simmons Insurance, operating in Winchester through 3 generations since 1921, came to this location in 1971, and optometrist W.E. Eichenberger used the corner rooms from 1981 to 2000. Built 1920, E.L. Collins erected this building as a drive-through filling station and garage on what had been a residential city block since the 1850s. McDowell Appliance Store took over the corner in the 1940s and was followed by Huber Paint Store from 1953 to 1984. Various shops and offices occupied the room on the west. The north section originally housed a seed and feed business. In 1938, the farmer store moved in and was a local landmark for 50 years. Among the offices upstairs was U.S. Senator A. Tom Stewart's in 1928. Looks like the building is currently empty. Built in 1920. Casper J. Neese erected this building next to his first building on the right and leased it to Grover Hatfield for additional space for his machine shop in 1938. Copeland Produce Company was here and was followed in 1950 by Neese Hardware Company, which was owned and operated by brothers Alfred and Cottam Neese. The Neese family continued the business until 2000. It appears now it is North High Nutrition Studio. Built 1920s, a small ironclad room on this site was used as a hay shed in 1905 and a hearse house for Heron and Steed Furniture and Undertaking in 1910. Grammar Shoe Shop occupied this building in 1924 and was followed by several restaurants and beer joints, one of the most popular being the Hot Spot Cafe, offered by Johnny G. Mays before desegregation. Black patrons used the upstairs accessed by an outside stairway, and white patrons used the street level room. Since the 1990s, a variety of shops have been here. Built in 1923, Bert C. Chastain constructed this building for a drive-in filling station on the Dixie Highway, which entered Winchester by way of North High Street. Because the business phone number was 288, he named it the 288 Filling Station. Murrell Travis, who served twice as Winchester's mayor, leased the station and repair shop from 1931 to 1954 when he purchased the property, and also operated an insurance office at the back. Between 1994 and 2005, the building was used for the city of Winchester's Welcome Center. So you can see this was definitely a gas station. It looks like it had 2 repair bays. Built 1924, Thomas J. Scott, a Winchester contractor, constructed this building for his warehouse from 1926 until 1965. The Winchester Chronicle newspaper, founded by Mr. and Mrs. David L. Lynch, leased the left side. Grant's used furniture business then opened here and eventually occupied all of the buildings in a row, through which customers could walk via openings cut into the walls between them. Wade B. Anderson purchased this property in 1993 and leased it to a variety of shop owners before moving his art and antique restoration studio here in 2004. And it looks like now it is the Moonside Branch Water Distillery. Built 1926, Solomon A. Shore, father of singer Dinah Shore, operated a department store here from 1914 to 1923. Dinah, as a child, sang for the customers while sitting on the counter. The store burned in 1924 and the present building was constructed and occupied by Kunz until 1935. The National Store here from 1935 to 1979 was followed by Lynch Law Firm during the 50s and 60s. Local radio personality Joe Brewer conducted popular Man on the Street interviews here. Built 1930. These adjoining town lots, purchased in 1812 by Thomas Smiley for $132, remained residential property until 1930. David Spiker, one of Winchester's earliest residents, lived in a house here that was replaced by T.N. Arledge in 1882 and purchased by Mrs. Sarah Coleman in 1891. Leon and Rivers McDowell bought this lot in 1929 and built a new filling station on it with an open corner for vehicles to drive in for gas. A motor parts company and used furniture mart were here between 1946 and 1938 when Wade B. Anderson purchased and renovated the building for his art and antique business, the first in his block of brightly painted buildings known as Rainbow Row. Built 1934. In the 1880s, shoemaker Reinhold Kleinwachter was on this site. In 1902, lawyer George E. Banks Sr., whose office was here, fatally shot newspaper editor Sherman B. Robinson on the sidewalk because of a political disagreement. Abe Sanders operated Shore Department Store here from 1834 to 1949 when the Russell's department store moved in, eventually expanding to include the two adjoining rooms in the Sandstone building until closing in 1987. Built 1934. This lot was undeveloped until Richard L. Groves erected this building, which was used in the 1940s for Travis Auto and Home Supply. In the 1960s, Prelude Photographic and Framing Center and Winchester Art Center were here, followed by Ryland Williams Insurance and Corner Antiques. In 1979, the Nice family expanded into this third building in a row with their gift shop, which operated until 2000. Looks like today it's an Edward Jones office. Built 1935. Benjamin S. Dechard ran a general store on this site from the 1820s until he moved to Texas in 1853. Collins Hardware here in 1899 was followed by Vaughn Hardware from about 1909 until 1958. Kuhn's Five and Dime store expanded into this building in 1958 and featured a new luncheonette fountain service with 22 stools and a stand-up bar, which was a popular spot for merchants and shoppers until the store closed in 1979. And it appears this is an empty storefront. Built 1935. In 1838, merchants Sharp and Lowmiller charged $30 for 24 pairs of shoes purchased here for poor and destitute Indians passing through Winchester on the Trail of Tears. In 1863, the Union Army took over the upstairs office of newspaper publisher W.J. Slater. Sprague, Hanley, and Cooper became Winchester's first large department store here in 1898. The Sprague building burned in 1934, and the new building was occupied by Kunz until 1979. And this one also appears to be an empty storefront. Built 1935, this building was constructed to replace an older one destroyed along with the adjoining corner building by a disastrous fire in 1934. Vaughn Hardware occupied the new building until 1958 when E.H. Hudson, who once baked a cross-shaped cake weighing 200 pounds for Reverend Billy Graham's 33rd birthday, located his bakery here from 1958 to 1994. The bakery, variously called Hudson's, Burrell's, and Happy Cake, was a popular meeting place to enjoy conversation over coffee and donuts. And it looks like this building is now closed. Built in 1937, this three-section building with a separate entrance for each section was constructed for the McDowell Ice Cream Company, which moved here from its first location at the rear of the Family's Cafe on the south side of the square. A donut shop and cafe were in the left section, the ice cream plant was in the center section, and the business office was in the right section. Thomas B. Hughes purchased the property in 1948 and renamed it Cloverfield Ice Cream for the crimson clover he saw growing abundantly in Franklin County. After Hughes moved the business to a larger facility in 1962, a wide variety of shops occupied the three sections. Built 1938. In 1837, this lot was purchased by Peter Embry, a free man of color, for $300. His heirs owned the lot and 4 small frame houses on it until 1871. In 1923, a 10-ton Fairbanks Morse scale was installed here for weighing livestock and farm products brought to town for sale. Vaughn Hardware Company, owner of much of this block, bought the lot in 1935 and constructed this building for a C. Clark's woodwork shop, which operated until 1965. A variety of occupants followed until the Kiwanis Club of Franklin County purchased it in 2009. Built 1947. In 1929, Leon and Rivers McDowell purchased this residential property known as the Coleman Place, on which they later constructed this 2-section building. The entire building was leased by the Home Store, Winchester's first grocery supermarket, until 1961, when a cafe and men's shop located here. A wide variety of businesses have filled the section since then. And it looks like both sections are currently closed. Built in 1950, apothecary and druggist shops were on this corner from the 1820s to 1900, with doctors T.C. Morrell, J.W. Grizzard, and J.C. Shepard's offices upstairs during the 1880s. The street level housed Franklin Grocery and Bakery until 1930s. The spacious upstairs was used for large civic gatherings and parties while leased by businesses and professional women's club. The old building was raised in 1949 for the building of the Oldham Theater, which looks like it's still in business today. Built 1958. In 1910, a cobbler's shop and the Winchester Fire Department's hose house occupied this site. Shortly after 1948, Vaughn Hardware Company built an open lumber shed here that was enclosed in 1958 to house their business Modern improvements included large front windows, fluorescent lighting, and suspended heaters and blowers. After Vons closed in 1965, the building was used for a variety of businesses and shops until it was completely renovated again in 2008 for the law office of Swafford, Peters, Priest, and Hall. And apparently there is some office space available in here as well. Built in 1959, Thomas D. Wiggins, selling his goods here in a log cabin, was the first merchant in Winchester. In 1812, he was appointed postmaster, making this site of Winchester's first post office. From the 1860s, many successful lawyers occupied offices on this site, among them Hopkins L. Turney, Tennessee senator, and his son Peter Turney, governor of Tennessee. This building was erected for Winchester's National Farm Loan Association. Built in 1963, from 1853 to 1872, this was known as the Farmer Corner, occupied by C.M. Farmer's Cabinet and Undertaking Shop, and later W.B. Farmer's Saloon. Dentist Dr. J.O. Templeton, Sr., erected an office building here in 1897 that also housed several doctors and beauty shops. A barber shop was in the basement. The Templeton building was raised in 1962, and this building was constructed for First Federal Savings Loan. And now it appears this building is the First United Methodist Church. Well, that was another episode of Historical Markers. We saw several of the built-in signs in Winchester. Like, subscribe, let us know in the notes what you'd like to see. Just leave us a note telling us what you'd like to see in the future, and we'll see you in the next episode of Historical Markers.